Hey everyone, this is my review for Batwoman Season 3, Episode 10, Toxic. The description for the episode says, Batwoman's hands are full as she juggles Jada's demands, Mary's ever-increasing power, and a new romantic entanglement. Batwoman races against the clock to once again save the city and those closest to her. We started with this awesome opening of Mary torturing the CEO of Gotham United Healthcare. I love Ivy saying Mary was too mustached early, because it's true. She's low-key calling out all of those Arrowverse villains with their never-ending monologues. Mary did give a great speech though about the people who came to her because he denied them healthcare, people who suffer so much that not getting treatment seems like the better option, so now it was Harry's turn to suffer. Mary found her calling, taking down the healthcare system, and Ivy was like a proud mom, explaining the press would label her a villain, but don't let that face her. They were so much fun together. Mary's story hit Ivy hard because her little brother had severe asthma, but they couldn't afford his treatment, so they used herbal remedies, which is how Ivy got into plants, only to learn that a factory poisoned their drinking water for years, ultimately killing her brother. Now she'd finally finished what she started, destroying the Gotham Dam and drowning the industrial industry that killed her brother and many more. But Mary didn't want to take part in that, and Ivy seemed okay with it, but she drained Mary's power so she passed out. I noticed Mary's skin get green each time Ivy drained her power, especially here, and I wonder if that's meant to tease Ivy's green skin from the comics that they can't do because of budget, like Starfire's orange glow on Titans. But Annette was waiting to leave town with Mary and Ivy when Ryan and Alice kidnapped her. I guess that was just Ivy's distraction because she knew Annette would be against her plan. I so agree with Alice though, I love having the hold up as their layer. I was so right there would be drama between Jada and Batwoman over how she knows so much. What surprised me is that she didn't pull a Barry Allen and tell Jada she's her daughter. While the fake background was obvious here, we did get some great shots of Jada and Batwoman, but I hated how Batwoman was treating Jada. Jada gave Ryan till midnight to give Marcus back in exchange for the Joy Buster, but first Ryan had to get Mary out of an ambulance. They recognize Mary as Jacob Kane's daughter, so I wonder what the public's reaction is to her actions, because isn't this like, say, Megan Thee Stallion going on a crime spree? Alice finally got to drive the Batmobile, that was so much fun. Them listening in on Sophie and Montoya was hilarious. Then Brian going all Batflick, jumping out onto the ambulance when they wouldn't give Mary back. It looks so funny how they just love Mary with Ryan in the street. She was so worried about Mary's coma, but Alice was just like, well, at least she won't know she killed that hunter. Sophie'd been trying to get Annette to open up about Ivy, but it wasn't until she saw Mary that Renee revealed that Mary was Ivy's battery pack and she was gonna use her powers to destroy the dam. Mary went all in on them with the insults when she woke up, grown woman stuck in a fairy tale and the queen of unemployment. She wouldn't listen until Alice told her about the hunter, cause that's when she realized she broke the Hippocratic Oath in a way that she'll never come back from. Down in the dam, Ivy was a total badass. That shot with the dam caving in and the lights flickering around her was so good, but using her powers was causing her pain till Mary showed up to offer a boost. Renee's plan was for Mary to take the antidote she made to Ivy's powers so that Ivy would be weakened when she drained all of Mary's powers. I still don't get the logic behind that, but hey, it allowed Ryan to attack Ivy, leading to the show's best fight since Ryan vs. Cersei. Luke was also badass, breaking all those vines after conquering his insecurities. When Ivy fell off the railing, I thought she fell to her death, but surprisingly, Ren Ivy actually got their happy ending because Renee made a deal to leave Gotham so they could live on Coreana. Thankfully, the Bat team weren't mad at Mary when she woke up as herself again, but she blamed herself for her actions. I'm gonna miss her red hair, but right now there's bigger issues because Ryan missed Jada's deadline and that woman didn't waste a minute before turning the city on her, blaming her for Batman's trophies getting loose. Woman, you've got the wrong Batwoman. Kate's the one that threw them in the river when she had her little tantrum. Brian really keeps suffering because of that woman. And then to make things worse for them, a drop of water from the broken dam woke up Marcus, although personally I'm celebrating about that. I can't decide which I like better between this episode and the last one. Lesson from the Pig is still my favorite, but these two passed the premiere. I think last episode had a better written story, but this one had so much going on. It was like a season finale, wrapping up Ivy's arc perfectly. This was definitely the best directed episode of the season though. Glenn Winter did an amazing job. Those transitions, Ivy's powers, and once again, you could really feel how Gotham is this deranged, corrupt city. It really is all about directors and cinematographers, cause Mary transferring her strength last episode wasn't the best, but Ivy draining all her powers looked amazing, so cinematic. That was some Superman and Lois level shit. I just didn't like the constantly moving camera cause it made it hard to get screenshots. It's no surprise Glenn also directed Initiate Self-Destruct with the iconic fight between Ryan and Cersei. Once again, after starving us this season, they really gave us an awesome fight scene between Ryan and Ivy. Ivy using her vines as whips against Ryan's staff was so cool. I just wish it was longer. Hopefully we're getting some good Marcus vs. Ryan fight soon. I'm fine with the lack of action as long as we get horror scenes and a good story to make up for it. I've barely even noticed it this season because we've had a perfect mix of drama, action, angst, and horror. We've also had the best villain Batwoman's ever had. It's crazy how the show started so grounded, trying to be like Arrow in the Dark Knight trilogy, when all they needed was a meta-human villain. Like I've been saying, Batwoman's best comic stories always got a supernatural villain. Other than Alice, of course. Ivy had the baddest powers, the tragic backstory, and she was actually threatening while making me side with her a bit. She's Sophia done right. I will never shut up about the way they feel Sophia, all for her stupid brother. Maybe it's because I spent too much time making edits of them, but I seriously think Ren Ivy were one of the best Arrowverse couples, so I'm glad they got their happy ending. Theirs really was the greatest love story ever told. It's not even a joke anymore. After everything they went through, they still found their way back to each other in the land of their dreams. Vicky and Bridget were so good in these roles, and I'm glad Vicky got to redeem her take on Montoya after how Gotham treated her. I just wish we could have seen her become the Question. Like, my complaints with this episode aren't with the writing, but where I wanted the story to go. My one problem was Ryan being so distant from Sophie. Like, they already kissed, just let Wyomar be happy, we don't need all this drama. Other than that, it's Renana being the question, Mary losing her powers and not enough time with that suit, and Jada being set up as a villain cause I had faith in her, but now I only see the story ending when Marcus killing her. Why do I have to lose all the characters I love? At least I got Marcus back, and now I know I'm just lying to myself, but since he's releasing the Arkham inmates, maybe we're finally getting No Man's Land when Marcus. All I want is something like the Arrow Bridge fight with the Bat Team and Alice, maybe with Ivy and Montoya running towards Marcus and his men. They never gave me that with Roman and the Crows. I've seen complaints about Ivy's happy ending, but I think it's totally justified. It's like the Queen of Fables on Harley Quinn. Ivy already paid more than enough time for her crimes through Batman's cruel and unusual punishment. It's the show going back to their anti-abusive power roots. They just shouldn't have gone so far making Ivy full villain. It's a problem in the comics too. For me, their happy ending had me worried about the show getting cancelled instead. Would they really give them such a perfect wrap-up unless they were told to write it like a final season? I always try to ignore it, but the ratings are really low and the show doesn't have the benefit of going to Netflix. Remember, Katie King got cancelled because I failed to find a big streaming audience on HBO Max. Love them so much, but the fact that the writers room is asking us to please stream is really concerning to me. If they do get cancelled, at least they went out with the best season, but I wanted at least one more. Then again, I wanted Black Lightning to go on, but then I wished it would have ended at season 3. I'm really impressed with all they've done in this short season. With only 13 episodes, they brought 2 villain storylines and both turned out great. Meanwhile, The Flash struggled with 1 villain over 23 episodes in their season 3. Ivy's story is over, and for once, a villain actually got a great ending, unlike the last 2 longer seasons. Alice and Hush have the COVID excuse, but don't get me started on Sophia, and the finale ruined Roman's character. They also switched themes so smoothly from abuse of power to perception of mental illness. Supergirl could never. Those idiots were anti-technology during the year we needed it the most. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for some more content. Leave your thoughts on the video or episode in the comments below. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Goodbye.